Blake Lively-Justin Baldoni cases likely won't settle before trial, and this is according to Justin's lawyer.
A spokesperson for Lively said, "It's a painful reality that the actor..."
Justin Baldoni just completely destroyed Blake Lively in court after her utterly outrageous request, and honestly, I can't stop laughing. She tried to start a fire and run as far as possible, but now her reputation is in tatters. Her movies are tanking with worse reviews, and she's being called out as a bully and a liar. Now she wants to quit and get the lawsuit thrown out, but nope. Justin isn't going down easy. He's on the verge of winning, and no matter how gentlemanly he acts, he's not letting her off the hook anytime soon.
And according to the documents, she says Justin's actually violating the law by filing his lawsuit against her because it's all being done for...
And honestly, after wasting both the public's and the court's time, Blake doesn't even have the right to ask for mercy. The whole Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively saga has officially turned Hollywood into the pettiest courtroom reality show you never knew you needed. Now, after all this, it's all about who can walk out of the mess with their reputation the least shredded.
He brought the suit, and he's got to defend himself. And there's some very serious allegations being made against him and Wayfarer for harassment.
On one side, there's Justin Baldoni, who claims his life and career have been upended by Blake Lively's accusations. And yes, it's been destroyed, but in the Hollywood sense, where reputations get shredded faster than an Oscar speech gets cut off. Public backlash, lawsuits, and relentless media scrutiny have left Baldoni scrambling to salvage whatever remains of his name.
You combine it all, it's enough to make you like completely crash out on how, I guess, delusional that.
Meanwhile, Blake Lively is over here throwing legal punches like it's an Olympic sport. But her most outrageous move? Asking a judge to keep her and Ryan Reynolds' text messages with other celebrities hidden. That's right, because in Hollywood, secrets are worth more than box office revenue. According to Blake, these texts are so explosive that their release could cause irreparable harm. And we're not talking casual emojis here. Whatever's in those messages must be juicier than a behind-the-scenes tell-all.
This is getting kind of interesting. There's been some more gossip, some more discussion, but we did get some more information from Justin Baldoni's lawyer, Ryan.
And what's Blake and Ryan's reasoning? They claim they're afraid Baldoni might leak these texts to the public, which could supposedly harm their reputation. But how exactly? Are we talking bad jokes, embarrassing gossip, or some unfiltered opinions? Either way, this plea has everyone raising their eyebrows. If those texts are squeaky clean, why fight so hard to keep them under wraps?
Or falsely claim sexual assault, ruin that person's life, and that person should just lie down and take it. There's nothing can be done about it. It's absolutely insane.
And let's be honest, this move has PR written all over it. Legal experts, of course, are having a field day. Some call it strategic, a clever way to deflect attention from the real accusations. Others say it reeks of desperation, like the final act of someone running out of cards to play.
Men, first of all, I want men to stop asking the question, why did women stay?
Yeah.
Right? I want men to take accountability. I want men to hold up.
And the court's reaction? Nothing short of spectacular. Well, they're probably just as entertained as the rest of us. Judges don't usually get front row seats to Hollywood drama, so this must feel like a special performance. But whether they'll actually buy Blake's argument is another story entirely. After all, this isn't just about protecting privacy. It's about preserving the Lively Reynolds brand, Hollywood's golden couple who are supposed to be able to do no wrong.
The complaint claimed Baldoni's countersuit is a profound abuse of the legal process that has no place in federal court. It also called out Baldoni and his co-defendants' bizarre theories about the actress's intention.
I want men to hold other men accountable. And let's not forget Baldoni's side of the story. He's been painted as the villain in this saga, accused of potentially leaking these texts just to sway public opinion against Blake. But here's the kicker. What if those texts actually vindicate him? What if they reveal a side of Blake Lively that her carefully curated Instagram never shows? It's the kind of twist even the best screenwriters would envy. In Toro 9. But wait, there's more. As if this courtroom drama wasn't spicy enough, Baldoni has hit back with his own lawsuit. Blake, of course, didn't take it lying down, calling it vengeful and rambling. And honestly, can you blame her? This isn't just a legal battle anymore. It's a full-blown war, with both sides refusing to back down.
I understand why the law was done, but when you think about it, like, you can just, this is how people can get ahead. They can just threaten somebody and say, I will claim that you tried to sexually harass me if you don't do what I want, which is essentially what happened in this case.
What makes this case even more fascinating is how it reflects Hollywood's obsession with control over image, narratives, and apparently even text messages. In Tinseltown, it's rarely about who's right or wrong. It's about who can spin the best story. And right now, both Baldoni and Lively are racing to dominate the narrative before the trial date arrives. If you thought It Ends With Us was the only drama these two would deliver, think again. This real-life feud is proving far more compelling than anything Hollywood could ever script.
Why is he suing them?
Now, let's get to the juicy part. The moment Justin Baldoni decided to go full-on gladiator mode with his so-called vengeful and rambling lawsuit against Blake Lively. And yes, I'm not being dramatic. Those are literally Blake's words.
Suing for defamation, extortion, and basically, in layman's terms, shady business practice.
But Blake, ever the queen of clapbacks, didn't just sit quietly. She fired back, calling his lawsuit vengeful and rambling. Can you imagine being accused of rambling in a courtroom? Her motion to dismiss the case was dripping with sass, framing Baldoni's lawsuit less as a legitimate legal argument and more as a desperate cry for relevance.
That narrative that I think they instantly started spinning. I believe that they are going to be able to prove in court that this was personal Ryan Reynolds versus Justin Baldoni.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This lawsuit isn't just a war of words. It's a battle for power, plain and simple. Baldoni is fighting tooth and nail to salvage what's left of his reputation, painting himself as the victim of a smear campaign, someone whose life and career were supposedly obliterated by Blake's accusations. On the flip side, Blake's legal team is working overtime to position her as the defender of truth, the one who stood up against whatever went down during the filming of It Ends With Us.
Told us that Justin Baldoni claims she tried to take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do is direct it and edit it and produce.
But here's the twist. What was supposed to be a straightforward adaptation of a beloved book has now morphed into a full-blown soap opera. Public opinion is a total wild card. Some people might see Baldoni's lawsuit as a bold move to clear his name, while others probably think Blake nailed it with her vengeful and rambling comment. Let's be honest. When your case gets labeled like that, you can almost picture the jury stifling yawns or exchanging side eyes before the opening arguments are even done.
That Justin Baldoni claims she tried to take over his movie because she has a history of saying, okay, I'll be the star, but what I secretly want to do is direct it and edit it and produce it.
Let's rewind a bit to when the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively drama first ignited. It all began on the set of It Ends With Us, a film that was meant to be a heartfelt adaptation of Colleen Hoover's bestseller, but quickly devolved into a dumpster fire of egos and accusations. According to the whispers, Blake and Justin's on-set chemistry was far from romantic leads. It was more like passive-aggressive coworkers. What started as a few snarky comments escalated into full-blown legal warfare faster than you could say box office bomb.
Blake Lively's claims that she was allegedly harassed by this guy when they shot the movie It Ends With Us, a film about domestic.
Blake claims that Justin was the problem, accusing him of everything from unprofessional behavior to harassment. She didn't hold back in describing how the set became, in her words, a personal nightmare, painting a vivid picture of chaos behind the scenes.
What in fact happened was Justin didn't harass Blake. Blake was interested in wresting control of this movie away from Justin, who was the director and the producer. She was just an actress in it, and used threats and coercion and bullying to do it.
On the flip side, Justin maintains that he's the real victim, insisting that Blake's allegations have not only damaged his reputation and career, but also thrown his daily routine, and maybe even his morning coffee, completely off balance.
The Hollywood actress Blake Lively has filed a legal complaint against her. against her It Ends With Us co-star Justin Baldoni, alleging sexual harassment and a campaign to destroy her reputation.
His lawyer painted him as utterly destroyed, which, let's be honest, is exactly the kind of melodrama this case feeds on. Cue the dramatic piano music.
As well, an intimacy coordinator has weighed in and has said that she thinks that Blake trusted Justin.
But wait, it gets better or worse, depending on your tolerance for secondhand embarrassment. Blake filed not one but 2 lawsuits, alleging that Justin caused her emotional distress and claiming she lost wages because of the fallout. Justin clapped back with his own suit, calling her accusations exaggerated and casting himself as the misunderstood good guy in this Hollywood soap opera. Adding fuel to the fire, an intimacy lawyer dropped a bombshell. Blake reportedly trusted Justin.
Message. Justin Baldoni is following through on his vow to release all his communications with Blake Lively, revealing a nearly 7-minute apology he sent her at 2 a.m.
And just when you thought the drama couldn't get any juicier, along comes an alleged voice note. Justin supposedly apologized to Blake for a rooftop argument during the filming of It Ends With Us. Yes, Justin Baldoni allegedly sent Blake a digital apology for their on-set feud because nothing says let's make amends like a message that can later be weaponized as evidence in court.
I effed up. I will admit and apologize when I fail. I'm a very flawed man, as my wife.
So, what did this voice note allegedly say? According to reports, Baldoni simply said, "I'm really sorry." That's it. No dramatic monologue, no Oscar-worthy apology, just a short, seemingly innocent "I'm sorry." But here's the million-dollar question. Was it heartfelt remorse or a carefully calculated chess move in the ongoing legal war?
This woman stole his movie away from him, and he is still trying to rise above and keep the peace.
It could have been a rare moment of vulnerability amid all the chaos. Maybe Baldoni genuinely wanted to acknowledge the rooftop fallout and clear the air. But remember, this is Hollywood, where even apologies can carry hidden motives. Could it have been a calculated move to position himself as the bigger person for the court and the public? Blake's reaction is equally telling. Publicly, she hasn't responded, and that silence speaks volumes. She's keeping the focus squarely on her legal battle, refusing to let one voice note derail her strategy.
Not just the lead actor, but he is the producer and director of the movie. He is the director! But she was trying.
Now, let's look at how this voice note is playing out publicly. Some view it as a moment of redemption for Baldoni, evidence that he isn't entirely the villain here. Others are more skeptical, questioning the timing and wondering if it's just a calculated PR move. Legal experts are having a field day, debating whether the apology strengthens or undermines Baldoni's case. One thing is certain, this voice note has added yet another layer of drama to an already tangled legal saga. Whether it becomes a turning point or merely another footnote in this feud remains to be seen.
Broke loose. She claims he sexual harassed her, and then by the time they premiered the movie, they weren't even speaking to each other. She made him stay in the basement, and Ryan Reynolds turned on him too. And then she claimed that he unleashed a bad PR campaign.
Now, let's dive into the next act of this wild Hollywood saga, Blake Lively's second lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. Yes, she's back, and this time the stakes are personal and pricey. Blake is claiming severe emotional distress, along with lost wages, because apparently navigating rooftop arguments and on-set chaos isn't exactly cost-free.
And he's got to defend himself. And there's some very serious allegations being made against him and Wayfair for harassment.
First off, let's break down the emotional distress claim. Blake is basically arguing that Baldoni's actions during and after filming It Ends With Us didn't just inconvenience her. They derailed her entire mental health express. She alleges that the emotional fallout has been devastating, with sleepless nights, anxiety, and probably a string of very expensive therapy sessions. And let's be real, therapy in Hollywood is anything but your standard copay affair.
But these types of cases take a massive personal toll. They take a huge financial toll. It's really, really difficult. And for them, it's not a game, right? For them, it's not entertainment. And
But hold up, there's more. Blake is also waving the financial loss flag, claiming Baldoni's actions have dealt a massive blow to her career and reputation. Now, considering she's one of Hollywood's golden stars, any dip in her marketability is huge. And we're not just talking a few missed paychecks here. This is lost wages with a capital L and W. The kind of money that makes you wonder if Baldoni accidentally left her name off the invite list for her next blockbuster.
Blake Lively has proven, Ryan Reynolds has proven to be actually the smartest in the room and was likely manipulating her.
Let's pause for a second and talk about Ryan. Don't forget Ryan Reynolds' contribution to this chaos, a masterclass in marital loyalty served with a side of savage humor.
Friedman is quoted in TMZ. Let's look at what he said. Mr. Reynolds' exploitation of his enormous power in Hollywood continues, this time arrogantly asking to be dismissed from the case despite his publicly documented involvement, extending far beyond just being a supportive spouse.
While Blake was duking it out in court, Ryan decided to throw his own brand of humor into the mix, and by humor, I mean full-on borderline psychological warfare. Enter Deadpool 3 and the now infamous character, Nice Pool. You'd think Ryan might keep it classy and steer clear of Baldwin's name in his scripts.
We reported Ryan filed the dismissal docs Tuesday, calling Justin thin-skinned for complaining that so-called Nice Pool character from Deadpool and Wolverine was mocking him.
But no, Ryan went full throttle, creating a painfully chipper, over-the-top nice character whose exaggerated sweetness was clearly a direct jab at Justin Baldoni.
Then they say, well, even doing that, he's just thin-skinned for complaining about it.
Let's break it down. Nice isn't just nice, he's ridiculously, annoyingly nice. The kind of niceness that makes you wonder if something's off. Fans immediately caught on, especially since Nice Pool's story had him acting absurdly self-centered while pretending to be everyone's best friend. If Baldoni was still trying to repair his reputation, Ryan just made it way harder with this blatant jab. Honestly, how do you sue a parody while simultaneously trying to prove you're not a public laughingstock? Ryan didn't just mock Baldoni, he cornered him psychologically and handed the world a front-row seat with popcorn in hand.
The key player in the scheme, defaming Justin around Hollywood, strong-arming WME, their agency, into dropping Justin as a client and trying to destroy Justin's career however possible.
Now, things get really spicy. Baldwin's legal team wasted zero time firing back. They're painting Blake's claims as not just exaggerated, but borderline fantastical. According to them, her lawsuit isn't about real damages, it's a full-on theatrical performance. They've labeled her allegations harmful, not just to Baldwin's reputation, but to the integrity of the case itself. After all, if every wounded ego in Hollywood triggered a lawsuit, the court system would buckle under the sheer weight of petty grievances and bruised celebrity feelings.
But Brian Freeman says Reynolds trying to skate is laughable because his fingerprints have been all over the smear campaign against Justin and the Wayfarer team since day.
But let's not forget what's really at stake. If Blake's claims hold up in court, it could be absolute disaster for Baldoni, reputational annihilation, serious financial fallout, and a permanent scar on his career. On the flip side, if her lawsuit gets dismissed, it only strengthens Baldwin's position, framing him as the victim of a carefully orchestrated smear campaign. Either outcome carries huge implications, making this more than just a Hollywood feud. It's a high-stakes legal battlefield with careers hanging in the balance.
Basically, Blake Lively Justin Baldoni cases likely won't settle before trial, and this is according to Justin's lawyer.
And speaking of high stakes, the moment the trial date was announced turned Hollywood upside down. That's right. This courtroom showdown is officially locked in, and the countdown has begun. Imagine the Oscars, but swap the gowns for legal briefs and add a hefty dose of subpoenas. Media outlets went into a full-blown frenzy, racing to plaster headlines like Blake versus Baldoni, the battle of the century. Honestly, who needs scripted drama when real life is serving up chaos this wild?
Would really make a settlement possible would be an apology, a public apology. But whether or not Blake Lively would be willing to do that in the Lively parties remains to be seen.
Legal experts are already dissecting every angle, speculating how this trial might play out. Some argue that Blake's polished reputation and powerhouse legal team give her a clear edge, while others believe Justin Baldoni's underdog narrative could win sympathy, not necessarily in court, but in the court of public opinion. The irony? A simple, "I'm sorry," might have defused all this before it spiraled. But in Blake's Hollywood universe, apologies don't seem to exist. Instead, we're witnessing a full-scale showdown, the untouchable movie star versus the director who just can't seem to catch a break.
A man's reputation. This is about multiple people whose lives have been turned upside down, accusations that have been thrown out.
But beyond the legal technicalities, this trial is about much more than just court arguments. It's a full-on battle for careers, reputations, and, let's be honest, who gets the last word in this never-ending feud. For Blake, it's about proving she was wronged, reclaiming her peace of mind, and protecting her bank account. For Justin Baldoni, it's about clawing his way out of the reputational hole he claims Blake dug for him. And the stakes go beyond the two of them. This case reflects Hollywood's current reckoning with power dynamics, workplace behavior, and how the industry handles conflicts under the public eye. The outcome could set a precedent, encouraging accountability, or it could simply fuel the fire of Hollywood's endless drama machine. Enter the documentary Fallout. He Said, She Said, Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, which premiered in the UK and immediately had everyone talking. This wasn't your typical recap. It poured a full kettle of controversy over the events of It Ends With Us. From the explosive rooftop argument to lawsuits flying faster than box office flops, the film painted a vivid, almost cinematic picture of chaos behind the scenes. Public perception has gone into overdrive. Some rally behind Blake as the wronged Hollywood darling, while others see Baldoni as the underdog fighting to salvage his name. It's basically a choose-your-own drama adventure, and the audience has opinions at every turn. The fallout from this spectacle shows that in Hollywood, the court of public opinion can be just as influential and ruthless as the courtroom itself.
Probably end in settlement. I figured we would have settled by this point, but clearly that's not happening, and this is going to be a case that probably will not follow statistics.
Now, let's break down the massive implications of this feud, because this isn't just two celebrities throwing shade at each other. The ripple effects are everywhere. First, the #MeToo movement is watching closely. Blake's claims of harassment and emotional distress have reignited conversations about power dynamics on set, while Baldoni's counterarguments highlight just how tricky navigating accusations can be in a post-#MeToo world. It's messy, polarizing, and sparking debates that go far beyond this single case. Then there's the potential impact on future projects. Blake's star power is undeniable, but will producers hesitate to cast her now? Baldoni, who also directs, could face an even tougher road. Hollywood doesn't easily forget scandals, and both may have long reputational recoveries ahead. Beyond personal fallout, this case could change industry practices. Will studios start drafting stricter contracts to prevent similar disputes? Will intimacy coordinators become mandatory on every set? Will every celebrity think twice before sending risky texts or making public statements? As the trial date approaches, it's clear this saga isn't just about Blake or Baldoni anymore. It's about Hollywood itself and what it takes to survive in an industry that thrives on scandal. Who's holding the upper hand right now? That's anyone's guess. One thing is certain, this story is far from over. Hit like and subscribe to stay updated on the ongoing Justin Baldoni versus Blake Lively legal war.